your American citizen child.
And I'm sorry, Jessica, I love you, but I don't believe anything you say anymore. You're wrong about everything. Every time you come up with these things, first he's a Maryland dad, then actually he does have tattoos that spell MS-13. For these migrants tell you. And then the day later, it's all wrong. You know what the protocol is? When you pick up an illegal, you don't know this. I'll tell you this for the first time. When you pick up an illegal and they happen to have their kid with them, they get a choice.
When I tell you, I have never, ever seen Jesse Waters like this before. This was crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Waters has officially lost it when it comes to this Maryland story, the Maryland men story, and also Jessica Tarlov. I've never, and I'm telling you, get ready for this. You will never see Jesse Waters like this. The way he explodes is absolutely insane. Again, this is Jessica Tarlov going on for the Democrats when it comes to this MS-13 gang member who was deported. They're still talking about this. This is like the #1 story. And there's more coming out. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just go right into it. Make sure to smash the like button. Get ready for this.
But it is also clear that Van Hollen going down to El Salvador did move public opinion on this issue. By 2-to-1 margin, people think that Abrego Garcia should be returned to the United States. And the reason that people are talking about that exchange last night with Trump and
should he be brought back? Any liberals watching this? What do you guys feel about this? Should he be brought back?
And Terry Moran about the tattoos is that we were all assured that no one was dumb enough to think that it was actually said MS-13, but it seemed like Trump actually did think that. And there have been a number of experts on gang tattoos, like CBS. I'm looking at an article right now that they spoke to, who said that these experts did not say that the symbols the judge talked about, the marijuana leaf and the cross,
then they're
and the
wrong.
smiley, then they're okay.
They're wrong.
Our gang expert is better than
prosecuted these cases.
That's fine. Either way, public opinion has shifted on this issue. In terms of the kids, the problem with those cases are that those mothers did not get to talk to their lawyers. One of them who had the 2-year-old, this is not the 4-year-old who had cancer, who supported with the 2-year-old, had 2 minutes on the phone to talk to her husband to try to figure out what would happen to her American child. And so, yes, like any mother, they said, I will take my kid with me rather than leave them in a system where I don't know what's going to happen to them. I think we can all.
So she's admitting that the 2-year-old child was not deported.
Agree that you should be able to talk to your lawyer before you are deported, especially with your American citizen child.
And I'm sorry, Jessica, I love you, but I don't believe anything you say anymore. You're wrong about everything. Every time you come up with these things, first he's a Maryland dad, then actually he does have tattoos that spell MS-13. Yeah, and then there's this other tattoo expert that you have. I thought we were supposed to trust the experts, right? And all these experts say this guy's a gangbanger, and you don't trust the experts. Let me ask you this. When a guy hangs out with MS-13 and gets picked up in a gang sweep, how is it that the MS-13 ranking gang members are allowing a non-gang member to hang out with them? Don't you think that's a little bit of a security risk, Jessica? That's like when the feds raid a Gambino gambling den. And do you think it would be believable if some Italian guy was like, I'm not in the mob? Yeah, they're just letting random guys play cards in a gambling den with a bunch of mafioso. Use your brain, Jessica. And I don't even believe you're this 2-year-old nonsense. Oh, you just listen to what the lawyers for these migrants tell you. And then the day later, it's all wrong. You know what the protocol is? When you pick up an illegal, you don't know this. I'll tell you this for the first time. When you pick up an illegal and they happen to have their kid with them, they get a choice. Do you want to be deported with your child, or you can assign a family member or a guardian here in the United States to leave the child there? That's the choice. And if you don't like the law, then go to Congress, change the law. Because otherwise, you just get women here, coming here, breaking through the border, having babies, and they all get to stay because you feel bad. I'm sorry. You can feel bad about a lot of things, but I'd rather follow the law.
Damn, I've never seen him like this before. Bro, he spazzed on Jessica Tarlov, man. And it's not the only time. Jessica Tarlov, again, has been going viral for these takes about this Maryland men story, along with not only her, but a lot of other Democrats, especially her being on Fox News. I think he's had enough of this. Yeah, he has reached his absolute limit. Yeah. Yeah, look, there's more clips. A lot of people are predicting that she's almost out of here, almost out of the show. A lot of people don't want her to leave because she's a reflection of what Democrats are, and it's always good to know what they are, which is like a Jessica Tarlov. But look, there's more.
He
Jessica.
is not. I mean,
And there are 2 orders of deportation on him. And he lied about being afraid to go back to El Salvador because he had to admit he was an MS-13
back to
gang
one
member.
person that you think
and
you have a case about. If someone dragged you out of your house in the middle of the night, you would kill somebody.
Let me tell you something. And I'll tell you something else that you said that wasn't true. A Hamas hostage, Nama Levy's father, shames Michelle Obama for saying nothing about this, the hostages. And her silence speaks loudly, is his quote. So don't say things if you don't know what you're talking about. Dana,
I'll go on the Google
what
machine
happened to Michelle Obama?
I find this.
So the push again continues to basically, take this stance that the Democrats have taken, as if I remember the last 4 years. I remember the migrant crisis in New York City. I remember why Trump was elected. I'm not one of those people that forgets. But I predicted this a long time ago, that people like Jessica Tarlov would take advantage of the mishaps or the missteps, or not even, because you could call them missteps. They're going to call them missteps is what I mean. But I knew that if something bad were to happen, or anything, just a little misstep or not a misstep, or it looks like a misstep, they were going to jump on the ship that, oh my God, people are going to start getting deported that are citizens. Oh my God, if you're Hispanic, you should be scared for your life. Oh my God, they're going after everybody. And I don't think that's the case at all. But I knew that anything, families being separated or anything that came with mass deportations, I knew that this would have been the moment, and this was going to be the outcome. I literally predicted it. I wish we could get a tape up of maybe 2 years ago when I said, when these mass deportations start, ladies and gentlemen, people will forget, especially Democrats will forget, that the migrant crisis was a thing in Chicago and New York City and many parts of America, right? Many parts of the United States of America. They're going to forget the bad things that at that moment were happening. What they're going to do is start latching on to women and children, as they always do, not paying attention to all the gang members that are being deported. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is the price to pay to have a country like El Salvador with no crime? What's the price to pay there? Are Americans ever going to be willing to do what's necessary to have a country that's safe with no criminals at all? I don't think the United States is built like that. And that's why I always thought, hey, people like Jessica Tarlov, people like Joy Reid, people like Jamel Hill, they're going to have a field day with this, because America can't ever be like El Salvador, unfortunately, because people are too soft. They're too soft on crime. They're too related or too close in comfort to a criminal. They want the criminal. Like it just, it depends on what type of country you want. You want a hard on crime country, you're not gonna, you just can't be friendly with people no more, especially if they commit crimes. This second opportunity, second chances stuff, I don't think that really exists in El Salvador. And that's the issue that Democrats have. It's more like, we want to give due process to everybody, even if they came here legally. They weren't even vetted. Coming in the country, they had no due process, no vetting. But to leave the country, you need to be vetted. So yeah, I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that they were going to twist stories like no tomorrow and get people to try to flip back to being Democrat, not because of policies, but because of inhumane situations like the Maryland dad story that they've been trying to push. That's my opinion. I knew this was going to happen. I already knew that this is where they were going. But Jesse Waters has had enough here. When it comes to Jessica Tarlov, Jesse Waters has had enough. This is the first time I've seen him talk like this to Jessica Tarlov. And obviously they're friends. That's why she's never been fired. And maybe she will leave the show at some point. But a lot of people don't leave the show, Jessica. Stay there. We want to know exactly why Democrats are losing. Watch Jessica Tarlov on Fox News, ladies and gentlemen. That's my opinion. I'll see you guys on the next one.